So Pandava Prabhu is the senior disciple of His Holiness Devamrita Swami Maharaj. I think currently is in
Yes.
Brooklyn, New York. So we're fortunate to have his associate. Let us hear attentively. It's a very important day. Lots of instruction from Lord Narasimha, especially Prahlad Maharaj. So let us hear. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So I wanted to read a verse from chapter 8 of Canto 7, and this is verse 5. So 7, 8, 5. Shri Hiranyakashipur Uvacha He Dirvinita Mandatman Kula Beda Karadhama Stabamak Chas Sanodritam Nishetvatyayamaksayam. Shri Hiranyakashipu Uvacha. The blessed Hiranyakashipu said, He, Durvinita, most impudent, Manda Atman, oh stupid fool, Kula Beda Kara, who are bringing about a disruption in the family. Adama, O lowest of mankind, Stabdham, most obstinate, Matshashana, from my ruling, Udvritam, going astray, Neshye, I shall bring, Tva, you, Adya, today, Yamakshayam, to the place of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charan Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hiranyakashipu said, O most impudent, most unintelligent, disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you, and therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. Purport. Hiranyakashipu condemned his Vaishnava son Prahlad for being durvinita, ungentle, uncivilized, or impudent. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur, however, has derived a meaning from the word durvinita by the mercy of the goddess of learning, Saraswati. He says that du refers to this material world. This is confirmed by Lord Krishna in his instruction in Bhagavat Gita that this material world is dukkalayam, full of material conditions. Vi means vishesha, specifically, and nita means brought in. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord, Prahlad Maharaj was especially brought to this material world to teach people how to get out of the material condition. Lord Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Bhagavad Gita 4:7. When the entire population or part of it becomes forgetful of its own duty, Krishna comes. When Krishna is not present, the devotee is present, but the mission is the same. To free the poor conditioned souls from the clutches of the Maya and chastises them. That chastises them. So, when Krishna is not present, the devotee is present, but the mission is the same. To free the poor conditioned souls from the clutches of the Maya that chastises them. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur further explains that the word mandatman means manda, very bad or very slow in spiritual realization. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.10, Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya. Prahlad Maharaj is the guide of all the mandas, or bad living entities, who are under the influence of Maya. He is the benefactor even of the slow and the bad living entities in this material world. Kula Beda Karadama. By his actions, Prahlad Maharaj made great personalities who established big families seem insignificant. Everyone is interested in his own family and in making his dynasty famous. But Prahlad Maharaj was so liberal that he made no distinction between one living entity and another. Therefore, he was greater than the great Prajapatis who established their dynasties. The word stabdam means obstinate. A devotee does not care for the instructions of the asuras. When they give instructions, he remains silent. A devotee cares about the instructions of Krishna, not those of demons or non-devotees. He does not give any respect to a demon, even though the demon be his father. Machchasanodvritam. Prahlada Maharaj was disobedient to the orders of his demoniac father. Yamakshayam. Every conditioned soul is under the control of Yamaraj. But Hiranyakashipu said that he considered Prahlada Maharaj his deliverer. For Prahlada would stop Hiranyakashipu's repetition of birth and death. Because Prahlada Maharaj, being a great devotee, was better than any yogi, Hiranyakashipu was to be brought among the society of bhakti yogis. Thus, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained these words in a very interesting way, as they can be interpreted from the side of Saraswati, the mother of learning. Shri Hiranyakashipu Uvacha He Dirvinita Mandatman Kulabheda Karadama Stabdam Chasanodvritam Neshetvadhyayamakshayam. Hiranyakashipu said, O most impudent, most unintelligent, disruptor of the family, O lowest of mankind, you have violated my power to rule you, and therefore you are an obstinate fool. Today I shall send you to the place of Yamaraj. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayati grimyat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatharinam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Devamrita Swami Nitnamine Prachare Purvadakshim Cha Bhaktachara Pravina Taparartha Tapi Karanyam Yasya Sarvechite Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitnamine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for this opportunity to purify myself in your association, talking about Krishna. This verse is one of the examples in Srimad Bhagavatam where demons try to offend the Lord or his devotees, which is even worse if they try to offend the devotees. The Lord doesn't mind so much when he's offended. One of the reasons is because Krishna is not insecure. He doesn't need the validation from anyone. We are the conditioned souls. We are constantly looking for because we're dependent, we're constantly looking for validation from others. But Krishna is independent, so he doesn't mind when some living entities are against him. He's not offended. He doesn't feel insecure. His identity is not threatened. He's still the Supreme Lord. We are not like that. We are dependent. So for us, it's very important what people think about us. So when Krishna is offended, he doesn't mind so much. But when the devotees are offended, then he takes this very seriously. So in this case, Hiranyakashipu tries to offend, he hurls insults to one of the greatest devotees in the history. But as in other cases in Bhagavatam, when this happens, by the mercy of the Acharyas, we understand that he, in fact, glorifies the Lord or the devotee. Although the intent is different, the reality is always according to Krishna's desire, because this is Krishna's world and everything works according to Krishna's plan. Speech itself comes from the Lord, as everything else. Language, which is the main tool of the main media of communication between living entities, comes also from the Lord. In Harinamamrita Vyakarana, Jiva Goswami begins by stating, Narayana Tudbhutu Yam Varna Kramaha. All the letters come from Narayana. So the letters, Varnas, come from the Lord. The very concept of the language comes from the Lord. The sound itself comes from the Lord. So all these are media for glorification of the Lord. And the language, the speech is supposed to be used in this way, to glorify the Lord devotees, to describe this material world as a energy of the Lord, meant to be engaged in his service. So in this sense, no matter what is the intent of the demon, the ultimate meaning of what he says is determined by the Lord or by the Lord's devotees. Because again, everything is connected to Krishna. Everything originates from Krishna, everything is connected to him. And Maya, illusion, means that we just don't recognize that everything is connected to Krishna. And we try to separate part of Krishna's domain. Or some people are so bold, they want everything. But usually we are kind of more, what is the word? More modest. So we just try to get something for ourselves, to disconnect it from the source and claim it for our own independent enjoyment. So this is Maya. In Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, there are 4 verses which are called Bhagavatam Chaturshloki. And there Krishna says, Etavateva jigyasyam tattva jigyasunatmanaha anvaya vyatirekabhyam yatsat sarvatra sarvada. Krishna speaks to Brahma and he says, the person who is searching after the absolute truth should continue to search until this moment. And this moment, what is this moment? Until Brahma has now darshan with Krishna. So until we receive this great mercy to see the Lord, we should, and in this sense, to come to the proper conclusion that Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he is the ultimate truth. Until this moment, the person who is looking for the absolute truth, he should continue his research with direct or indirect methods. Anvaya vyatirekabhyam. Everywhere, under all circumstances, and always. And that means direct and indirect. That means direct means we should always remember Krishna. And indirect means we should never forget Krishna. That means even if we are still not in love with Krishna, we haven't developed these high stages of devotion. For example, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, etc. Still, we should try to always to be connected to Krishna and to see this world as Krishna's energy. And the moment when we announce, no, this from this line, from this border, I draw a line here, and from here, this is my world. Like a friend of mine told me that some devotee said that some devotee told him, my friend, that at home, in my house, I'm the founder acharya. So Srila Prabhupada may be the founder acharya of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness here. He may have built a house where the whole world can live, but in my house, I'm the founder acharya. And this is what we do with Krishna. This is what we do with Prabhupada sometimes. We claim part of the reality, Krishna's world, and we try to subjugate and to control and to enjoy this part. And it is part of space. It's spacious dimension, and also we claim our time. Also, it is my time. We are waking up in the morning, often with the feeling of I'm the rightful proprietor of the next 24 hours of my life. And if I, by my own sweet will, if I decide that I will use part of this time for Krishna, this is my decision. And it is my time. And because I'm a very generous spiritual person, I'm using my time for Krishna service. So this is also an illusion. Neither space nor time belong to us. And this claim sounds really ridiculous and funny when we look at it from the Shastra Chakshus point of view, from the point of view of real spiritual knowledge, because time is not ours. We don't control time. Time controls us. We cannot prolong our life even with Srila Prabhupada gives the example of the person who is in the hospital and about to die, and then he was requesting the doctor, please give me 4 years more. Srila Prabhupada comments, the doctor cannot give even 4 seconds more because time factor controls us. So we don't control space, we don't control time, we don't control any of these energies of the Lord. We can only serve the Lord and take as His mercy our rightful share. This is what Ishopanishad explains. Isha vasyamidagam sarvayat kincha jagatyam jagata tena tyaktena bunjita magridah kasya svidhanam. This is the famous Ishavasya principle, that everything belongs to Krishna. So we become upset and angry even when part of our so-called property is claimed by somebody else, because we think this is not fair. It's not fair. It's mine. Why somebody is taking away what is mine? But we should know that it is Krishna's. So everything is connected to Krishna, and Maya means that we don't recognize this. And Krishna even sometimes let the devotee decide what is the reality. For example, when Ambarish Maharaj was offended by Durvasa Muni, Durvasa Muni went all the way to Vaikuntha and he's surrendered to Krishna. And then he asked him, please tell me who is right and who is wrong. In this case, it seems that I'm the wrong one, but you're the supreme authority, and it is up to you to decide. I think I'm right because I was at the place of this king, and he decided that Ekadashi is more important than the Brahmanas. So you tell me, my dear Lord, now you're the supreme authority. You tell me, what is more important, following Ekadashi or respect to the Brahmanas and the guests? And then Krishna replied, I don't know, my dear Brahmana. I don't know the answer of this question. Please go back to Maharaja Ambarisha and ask him. Whatever he says, whatever his ruling is, this is truth. This is the reality. Whatever my devotee says, I accept as reality because I'm not independent from my devotees. Even in defining reality, what is what? Whatever they say, this is what I accept. And please don't feel bad because a exalted Brahmana like you has to go and ask questions on dharma, on religion, from a low kshatriya. Please don't feel ashamed because, as I said, I also don't know the answer of this question. So I depend on my devotees. Krishna is he depends on his devotees, literally. And then therefore Krishna also taught Durvasa Muni that I cannot absolve you from your offense. Only my devotee can. So everything is connected to Krishna, and since speech and language is meant to glorify the Lord, we cannot use the language, we shouldn't use the language disconnected from Krishna. This Vak Shakti, the power of speech, is very, very powerful. And the great commentator of Bhagavatam, Sridhar Swami, in his commentary on 10th canto, he begins his commentary on 10th canto of Bhagavatam by a prayer to Nishingadev. Hare Krishna. Excuse me. Vagisha yasya vadane lakshmirya syacha vakshasi yasyaste hridiye samvitam nrisimham aham bhaje. Vagisha, it means the great masters of eloquence. There, Sridhar Swami says, they reside in the mouth of Nishingadev. Vagisha yasya vadane. Lakshmi is such a vakshasi. And Lakshmi Devi, she resides on his chest. And Yasasti Hridaya Samvit, the consciousness, the potency of consciousness is in his heart. So the Lord is the origin of all this. And Shabda Brahma, the spiritual sound of the Vedas, reveals the reality. Otherwise, we are just observing the confusing, chaotic picture of this universe, just like many people do this. They're lost. They don't know what is this place. They're not sure if anybody created it. They think nobody created it. They think it's just a coincidence. And they're completely confused. So they don't make any sense of it, relying on their own mental speculation, because that's not possible. So unless we have the Shabda, the spiritual sound, coming from Krishna, which explains this world, then we are lost. We're just speculating. So this is the Vak Shakti of the Lord. It reveals the reality. just like a small kid, if you show him a clock, he doesn't know. He sees the object, but he doesn't know how to use it properly. So somebody has to explain to him. And these are the Vedas. Srila Prabhupada describes the Vedas as a manual for using certain device, and this device is the most intricate and sophisticated, is the material universe and our bodies, our own bodies and minds. What is the proper usage of those? This is explained in the Vedas. And the Vedas, they have, Hare Krishna, excuse me. The Vedas have two main divisions, Shruti and Smriti. In Shruti, you can compare the Shruti to the law. These are the direct instructions, injunctions of the Supreme Authority, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then you have the Smriti. The Smriti is the living Vedic tradition. It is the application of the law in real life by the greatest persons in the universe, greatest sages, greatest kings, greatest devotees. How they applied the law, how they understood the law, what they understood, how they made sense of it, and how they applied in their lives, and what is the result that they attain. So this is described in the Smriti. For example, we have a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is technically part of the Smriti. Although Srimad Bhagavatam is the emperor among all Brahmanas, according to our acharyas. So he's in a special category in its own. But there is a verse in Bhagavatam which says, Sarva Kama, Akama Sarva Kama Va Moksha Dhamma Udharadi Tivrana Bhakti Yogana Yajeta Purusham Param. So this is a famous verse which says that if you have many desires, Sarvakama, or if you akama, you don't have desires, or if you desire liberation, no matter what you desire, there is one remedy, there is one method for you to attain your goal. And this is a devotional service, chanting of the holy name. Etam nirvyedanam ichatam akutobayam yoginam nripanirinitam harer namanu kirtanam. Another similar verse from Bhagavatam. So this is the rule. This is the, we can say, this is the law, the injunction. And then Shastra also give us the application. In one of these cases, mentioned, if you have sarvakama, if you have desires, material desires, then you still have to worship the Lord. And what is the example? In Bhagavatam, we have the example of Dhruva Maharaj, who had material desire. He wanted the kingdom. He wanted influence. Well, what did he do? He just worshiped the Lord. He didn't start business, or he didn't start some politics in the palace against his father and his co-wife and his wife. He had a desire, and he fully dependent on the Lord for the fulfillment of this desire, although it was material desire. So what happened? The Lord himself appeared and offered to fulfill not only his material desire, but he gave him something even higher than that. This was Dhruva's doubt, because when the Lord appeared, Dhruva Maharaj felt very, very sorry that he at all entertained these material desires. And Srila Prabhupada says, therefore, we should also not pray to the Lord for material desire, for material goals, because then we will feel sorry, just like Dhruva. And then the Lord told Dhruva, I will fulfill your desire. And Dhruva Maharaj said, no, please, I don't want this anymore. Now I came back to my senses, and I see that this is useless and I don't want it. The Lord said, no, I will do it for you. You ask for it, and I'm happy to fulfill your desire. Then Dhruva Maharaj said, but then you will not give me prema. You give me these material things, but you won't give me prema. And Krishna said, no, I will give you both. I will fulfill your material desire, and I will give you prema. So this was the result that Dhruva Maharaj attained by following the injunction that no matter if you have material desires or no, you have to worship the Lord. And then another example is Kardama Muni. He wanted to have a suitable wife. That's another material desire. These are basically the material desires. Srila Prabhupada explains in one purport to Bhagavatam, first canto, the second chapter. Money and women, these are the core material desires. And then Kardamuni, he worshipped the Lord. He didn't, he wanted to get married, but he didn't do anything to fulfill this desire besides just surrendering fully to the worship of the Lord. And then again, the same story. Krishna appeared and he told him, I have already arranged for you a suitable wife, exactly this type of girl that you have been dreaming all these long years of tapasya. It's already arranged. You don't have to do anything. Swayambhuva Manu will come and he'll offer to you his own daughter. So this is the example. This is the injunction that we should always worship the Lord, and then you have the examples, how the great devotees followed these injunctions and what result they attained. And also we have other instructions by the Lord. Name Bhakti Pranashiti, for example, from Bhagavad Gita. It's not really strictly an instruction, it's a statement that my devotee will never perish. And also in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yogakshema Vahami I will protect what you have and I will supply whatever you're lacking. And we can say one of the applications or examples for this is the story of Prahlad Maharaj. Because Prahlad Maharaj was fully surrendered to the Lord. And although it looked like he will not survive, he will not make it, one could say, well, why Prahlad Maharaj had to be so radical? He was, after all, the son of the most influential, the most powerful person in the whole universe. So why he didn't play along somehow and use everything in Krishna's service, Yukta Vairagya? He would have been given some share of this universe, and he could have used this for Krishna's service. Why he had to be so in Hiranyakashipu's face? So Prahlad Maharaj nonetheless did this. He was very direct with his father. He, in Bhagavatam, it is stated that he was faithful to the enemy's camp. That means the enemies of Hiranyakashipu. He was faithful to the demigods. And he didn't hide this. He was just blunt about it. That's what it is. I am devotee of Vishnu. So then the Lord personally appeared and defended him. People say that, I heard this from a devotee, that there are different stages in mastering martial arts. And in the first stage, you are attaining a very good control over your body, and you know all the proper movements, and you can fight and defeat even very strong opponents, etc. And then one level higher is the level where you can demonstrate some extraordinary abilities, which seemingly defy the laws of nature. You become so good that now you're exceptional. And then the next level above is when the deity of the martial arts himself will appear, will enter your body, and then you become something like Bhagavat Vesha or Shakti Vesha avatar of this deity. And then you become even more fearsome soldier. And then the highest level is when you don't have to even to fight anymore. Then the deity himself will appear. And he will fight for you. And that's what happens with Prahlad Maharaj. And Nrsimhadev personally appeared and he killed the demon. And then Nrsimhadev killed the whole army of Hiranyakashipu because they were very eager to die. This was the greatest fortune that they could attain, to be killed by the Lord. So he killed them all. Then he sat on the throne. And this sitting on the throne of Hiranyakashipu is very significant also. The Acharyas explain that many great sages and yogis, they worship the Lord and they prepare a wonderful throne and they invite the Lord to sit there, but the Lord very rarely accepts this. But the Lord accepted the throne of Hiranyakashipu. Because ultimately Hiranyakashipu was Krishna's pure devotee, and therefore Krishna wanted to reciprocate. So this is the throne. It's actually meant for me. Just like in the beginning we started. Language is actually meant to glorify Krishna. Speech, the Vakshakti, the potency of the words is meant to glorify the Lord. So no matter what the intent is, ultimately it is meant to glorify the Lord. So the demons, they don't have the power, the authority to define the meaning of anything. The meaning is defined ultimately by Krishna and by his devotees. So in the same way, Nrsimhadev accepted the throne of Hiranyakashipu to show that it is actually meant for him, and he reciprocates with his devotee. So this is a story. The application of the philosophy, it's in real life. So we have to apply the knowledge we attain, we receive from the Veda in our life. And therefore the stories are most important. They are so important. If you have noticed, we take the decisions in our life not so much based on some principles, but we are or some logic or intelligence. We are inspired by stories that we believe in, and it goes for spiritual life. It goes for material life as well. These stories, they shape our identity. They define who we are. You can understand who is someone by asking him what are the stories that they drive him, they enthuse him. What is his belief? For example, many people came to America because they believed in a story. I think almost everybody came here because they believed in a story about America. It is a story about the American dream. And it motivated these people to come here and to try to live this story. to enact the story, to become the main character of the story. If you think about it, we came here in the material world because also we believed in a story. We believed in a story that we can be happy without Krishna. So this is the story we have been sold. We bought into this story. And now in the material world, we try to live this story. So if you control the narrative people believe, then you control the reality, you control their destiny. You control the present, you control the past, because you can always interpret the past according to your narrative. And you control their future, because they will believe in the prayojana, in the goal that you told them to believe. And they'll employ the abhidheya, or the method for attaining this goal that you told them. So you control them. So that's why it's such a struggle and strife about who controls the narrative. Therefore, people pay so much money and they watch news, and people who make the news, they were accusing some people of fake news. What does it mean? That means somebody is making a narrative for you. And you have to believe it. And then once you believe it, once you're hooked up, then you can be controlled. Propaganda. Because by shaping the narrative, you shape the reality of the people and you control them. So therefore, our response to this should be very vigorous, because we have the original narrative. Nobody can claim this, but we can. People always say, wake up, you're being lied to. It's theory of conspiracy theories, etc. But they're an illusion. They don't actually know. They're just moving through different shades of illusion. That's all. Unless we have accepted the Shabda Pramana, the Apaurushaya reality of the Vedas, then we're in illusion. And the original story, the true story, the reality is Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of Krishna. It is the highest reality. It is God himself. This is what we are reading every morning. We are coming in touch with the ultimate reality, because throughout our day, we are in touch with the material reality, if we are not Krishna conscious, and then it has an effect on us. So every morning and throughout the day, we have to remind ourselves what the real world is. It is not this world. It is that world. This is the Upanishadic tension, this and that. So Bhagavatam should be distributed widely. And in this way, we can change the course of history. And we are changing. Krishna is already, Prabhupada is already changing the course of history, because he changes the story that people believe in. It changes their narrative. They don't believe anymore, like we, for example, at least theoretically, we don't believe anymore that we are God. I'm not God. I'm servant of God. So this is a major, they say, tectonic change in consciousness. And it impacts everything what we do in our life. So that's why we have to study Bhagavatam. We have to share Bhagavatam with others. Because right now they believe that you're the body, earth is your home. You're born in a certain nation, you owe allegiance to this nation. And by working hard for material sense enjoyment, you'll be happy. That's the story they believe. So we have to change this. First of all, we have to change our belief system, and then we can influence others. And the truth is just the opposite. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Yehi samsparsha ja boga dukkha yuna evate. By coming in contact with sense objects without connection to Krishna, you're just setting yourself up for miseries. Dukkha yuna, it's source of misery. But just stating this and quoting Shastra and logic it's usually not convincing enough. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, the Puranas are more important than the Vedas. Because, again, Puranas tells a story, and the story is very compelling. The story has the ability to bypass the mind, not the mind, to bypass the prejudices, the mental speculations. And the story of Bhagavatam establishes itself in the mind and purifies the mind. So therefore, in Kali Yuga, the Puranas are more important because they give us this direct experience of reality. And amongst all stories and all Puranas, Bhagavatam is the most important because Bhagavatam is free of any kind of a cheating religion, free of any fault. And it is stated that the Vedas speak like a king, and the Puranas, they speak like a friend. And Kavya poetry speaks like a beloved, like your beloved wife or husband. No, I think like beloved wife. That's the proper. So, but then Bhagavatam speaks in all three ways. Speaks like a king, like a friend, and Bhagavatam is also poetry, the most beautiful poetry. So Bhagavatam is the best. And by studying Bhagavatam, will it will reveal the real world to us. Not only that, it will attract us to this real world, and not only that, it will show us our place in this real world. Will let us feel where exactly we belong in this real spiritual reality. So it will reveal, we will attract, and will show our place. And therefore, we should always be in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Dear devotees, if anyone wants to share something, or to ask a question.
Wonderful presentation. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Anybody else? Anyone has questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. I'll go
Hare
to
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I was wondering, Prabhu, if you could expand further on how we can understand our place in this border between the material and spiritual worlds. If we endeavor to dovetail all of our activities in devotional service, then it said that we're living more in the spiritual world. Can you expand on that idea or share your realizations on how one can live entirely in the spiritual world while engaging with the material world?
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. In the beginning, we believe that this material world is the real world, and we are a material person. This is our identity. But we have this sacred space in this material world, in this material personality, and this is Krishna consciousness. So it's part of our material tabernacle. And from time to time, we go there and we get some nourishment, some enthusiasm. But we use this energy to go back to the material sphere and continue our struggle for existence. This is the beginning stage. Gradually, by chanting, by studying Bhagavatam in the session of devotees, gradually the material reality will start to fade away, and the spiritual world will start to become more and more tangible for us. It requires But it won't happen just automatically. It requires effort, mercy. And gradually, Srila Prabhupada explains that by reading Bhagavatam, we can realize our Svarupa. This is a revolutionary statement. In few places in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada makes this statement. Just by studying Bhagavatam, we will feel who we are. We will be attracted to certain pastimes, and this will be an indication of our position. And then gradually these pastimes will become more and more real. I can share some experiences. For example, you read Bhagavatam, and you read Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita over and over again, but you feel how I am here and I am in the material world and I'm reading Bhagavatam. So amongst many other things that I do, one of the things I do is I study Shastra. But then at one point it will be reversed. For example, we have very favorite moments from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And you read this again and again because you go through the whole book again and again. And then at one point when you read this, let's say pastime of cleaning the temple, the Gundicha Marjanadishu, Gundicha Marjana. This is, let's say, one of your favorite things. Then when you come back again to this and you read it, then it will be, yeah, I'm reading again this, and this is the real world. And what happens in between is just in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is explained that Mahaprabhu performed his duties, taking care of the body, just as a matter of formality. I think this was the word. Just to say, just by habit. So this material world will become just by it's the duty, you have to follow some rules, otherwise you feel weird. I mean, you seem weird to people. So in other words, it won't be so important anymore. Our real life will be in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And here it will be just a habit, a formality. I have to do this and this, yeah, as quick as possible, without any emotional entanglement. And the real world will be there. The real life will be there. And meanwhile, we're supposed to see how everything is connected to Krishna. For example, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, I am the taste of the water. I am the light of the sun and the moon. I'm the original fragrance of the earth. All these things we're supposed to practice. Srila Prabhupada gives the example. While you drink water, you have to think, oh, Krishna is the taste of water. Srila Prabhupada even goes to say that Krishna is the taste of any liquid that pleases you. He says in one lecture, let's say you like to drink wine. If you think, oh, the taste of this wine is Krishna, so wonderful, then you become the greatest yogi. So this is the principle we have to employ, because we are not in love with Bhagavan yet. But so that means we're not really directly in contact with him all the time. But we are in contact with other aspects of the absolute truth. We're in contact with Brahman, for example. Sarva Kalpidam Brahma, everything is Krishna's energy. So by seeing how everything is connected to Krishna, this is a good beginning. Because we can begin only from our own position. We cannot begin from some imaginary high position. We have to start from, if you want to go from here to New Jersey, you have to know where you are. Right now I'm in 305 Skirmahorn Street. And from here to New Jersey, the way to go is this way. But if I think I am in Prospect Park, or if I am in my country, in Bulgaria, then So we have to start from our own position. Therefore, on the map, you always have this, you are here. And this signifies Sambandha Gyan. This is your position. So therefore, Krishna describes in second canto also the universal form. And this chapter is called First Step in Understanding God, the universal form. It's also a form of the Lord. And this is what we see right now. So we have to see how everything is connected to Krishna. This is the beginning. Everything that is attracted to us, that is attractive to us, everything that we find pleasurable, we observe the field of activity and we want to be engaged in this field because we like something. Well, this we have to see how this is Krishna. You like to drive powerful car, fast car. So how is this connected to Krishna? Because the soul ultimately can be connected only to Krishna. Can be attracted only to Krishna. The soul cannot be attracted to matter. So we have to see, this is our job, to see how whatever we are attracted to is actually Krishna. And then next step is, well, if this, Krishna says in Gita, everything wonderful is just a glimpse of my opulence. If this glimpse of Krishna's opulence is so attractive to you, how much more attractive will be Krishna as Bhagavan Shri Krishna and his entourage and his pastimes. And in this way, we will progress from Brahman to Paramatma and to Bhagavan. But usually we have to start from Sarva Kalpidam Brahma. Everything is Krishna, and then progress further. Hare Krishna. Is this answering your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, very nicely. Well, last week I drove from New Jersey to Shishirada Govinda Mandir, and I used Google Maps. Google Maps showed me the way. But now every time I click on Google Maps, I'm going to think that it's the Srimad Bhagavatam because the Bhagavatam is showing me the way.
Yes.
So you changed the way that I think about how the material and spiritual worlds interact and how to see Krishna in everything. Like we're taught to see Krishna in everything, but to truly see Krishna in everything, I think you've explained it so that I understand that better. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I think we are, our time is up.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, if not, we'll conclude. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jai Shingarev Bhagavan ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Okay. Happy Nursing Chaturdashi to everyone. Please join for today's Sunday feast program starting from 4 o'clock. Try to be there before 4 p.m. as Nursing Yajna, followed by Abhishek, followed by Katha by Mukunda Datta Prabhu, and then drama is also there, I think. So if you like to sponsor Nursing Yajna, please contact us, message one of us. Or Sunday feast, if you want to sponsor, please bring boga, fruits, nuts, dates, or you can cook and bring, following the Western standards. Okay, those are the quick announcements. Anything else, Madhubhadru?
No. Program starts sharp at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So the yajna will start sharp at 4 p.m. So we request all of you to come, plan to come before that, so that at 4 p.m. we are seated around the yajna and the yajna can start. Yeah, that's about it.
Fasting till dusk, which is I think 8:35 p.m. or so, a little, and followed by Ekadasi Prasadam. Tomorrow is also important day. It's Purnima, and especially Madhavendra Puri's appearance and Srinivasa Acharya whose appearance, Radha Raman deity's appearance. So wonderful week. This whole week is full of festival days. Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you all in the evening, early today. Okay, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Dandavat Pranam.